Do you suffer in life? Do you carry an inner feeling of hurt, fear, depression, anxiety, or loneliness? Many of us do, and this inner feeling of discontent holds relationship to living within conceptual illusions. We suffer because we are not completely alive. We do not understand our lives and our deaths. What little comprehension we have of what we are has been educated into us. We call ourselves a given name and even come to feel we are this given name, words of identification given to us. We feel ourselves to be religious or not, once again, based on what stories we have been told and accepted or rejected. We belong to a nation and feel a sense of security belonging to a larger group of people, sharing the same piece of ground born onto. Once more, our nationality and any sense of patriotic identification which arises from such inner feelings of belonging has come into our life through the acceptance of a traditional education. Psychologically, we are nothing other than the continuity of a traditional and divisive, educated past. Movements running through the thinking processes of our human brains can be very old indeed, and all our thinking is of the past. It arises from knowledge stored in memory. If I am a British royalist, I support an institution which has been sitting on golden thrones in positions of advantage over the lives of all other human beings for more than 1,000 years. And this privilege continues today because of our thinking. Our outer and our inner worlds are one and the same, reflections of each other. If I am a Christian, if I believe in the Christian God and adhere to the tenets and dogmas of the Christian Church, I am engaged within a psychological inner movement which has occupied the brains of a fragmented group within divided mankind for longer than 2,000 years. If I am a Buddhist, my inner movements of what I have named my religion are 2,500 years old. We identify with the past. The continuity of our pasts is very important to us, which is a pity because the continuity of our past is what continues war between us. Each of our governmental institutions demanding allegiance are centuries, if not more, in their continuity. And on top of all this traditional accepted psychological identification sits our own personal identity, which is also a continuity of psychological time, represented by your name. This category, you, the birth name, is a similar process of psychological continuity as all others. Just as every bit learned, as every bit conceptual, every bit as totally unquestioned as the other contents which make up what you call the field of your mind, which is human consciousness. Human consciousness restlessly exists on the foundations of human thought, which is a movement within psychological inner memory. Humanity has evolved to this, to meeting life primarily through a screen of inner words and images, and this inner movement of what we call our thinking minds, based on identifications to where we have been born and to what we have been educated to, our inner sense of inner and outer identities. A movement of and secreted from the past is what divides us all, and in divisions we suffer and die. We kill each other in these divisions. We have forever suffered this way as a race. Psychological suffering has been our constant, long-standing companion. All psychological pains are born from the inner reactionary movements of thinking we have all been educated to accept, identify with, and live within. Please accept nothing from me, not one word. Seeing truth in life, seeing your life as it is, carries a potential transformative quality, but the seeing must be yours. Blindly accepting the words of another is pointless and useless to any potential you may innately hold to bring transformation to your life. Our lives are screaming out for freedom from the continuity of how we have forever lived, which is in bondage to the past. Every negative inner feeling you have ever endured in life, any fear, any sense of anger or inner violence, any anxiety, any sense of loss, every worry and every inner trouble has had its roots within our identification as a thinker of thoughts, and in the continuity such an unquestioned outlook regarding what we are at root inevitably brings to life. You have not spent a lot of your life in contemplation of what you are, have you? You have likely never questioned the actual substance of what you call me, myself, or I. And so your understanding of what you are has inevitably come from society, from education, from books and television, from the internet. It is not anything you have taken the time and energy to find out for yourself. And now we approach the root of all inner discontent. We stand on no solid ground in our lives. The ground we stand on, which informs us about no less than what we are, is second-hand, unchecked information passed down a traditional line which has been in perpetual continuity for centuries, perhaps even thousands of years, and it is not true. But you need verify this statement through seeing this as fact for yourself, or not. Either way, the truth will be yours, and the truth will come to be seen as the same for each one of us. Living without standing on the solid foundational ground of your own understanding of life is what leads to a life of inner pains and sorrows, a life of acceptance. And so no personal integrity based on one's own understanding is a life of servitude to a continuing traditional movement. Such a life naturally denies the potential of a life of freedom. But a life of freedom can only exist when the previous life of bondage has died. Bondage and freedom can never live together, will never be found side by side. A mind seeking freedom from its inner bondage is a mind ever caught within a movement of psychological suffering. A mind in bondage seeking future release is a mind caught within the continuity of bondage. To seek change in a future is to deny action in this moment, which is the only time any of us may truly act. Inner psychological uncertainty, therefore, may only be ended now. The ending of all psychological uncertainty is found in the seeing of psychological uncertainty, but a very special kind of seeing, crystal clear vision. Seeing the inner movements of time and tradition, of fear and pain and loss and sorrow, of passion and lust and greed and despair. Seeing all of this without being an observer to it. This is very important. In truth, in life, there is no thinker of thoughts. Thought thinks the thinker into being. But once more, accepting my or anyone else's words that this may be the case will only lead to further prejudice your mind. You need to see this to be the case or not, and you will only come to see the truth or falseness of these words by being patient, questioning, and coming into an intimate relationship with your own inner thinking processes. And then perhaps, if you leave the light on and the window open and are patient in your investigation, always watchful, never seeking, then a breeze may enter your room and your life is forever changed. For a mind which sees the truth of its existence, the truth of what it is, comes to find the sense of peace resting within itself. It becomes a peaceful mind. It finds intelligence and security in the ground of truth. And such a peaceful mind, finding security and intelligence in the solid ground of its own understanding, is the only thing capable for humanity to ever come upon a life free from bondage. If we do not understand what we are for and by ourselves as a race, we will continue to live dividedly as we do today. For our divisions are rooted into our traditional, accepted, enforced education. We are trained what to think, not how to think. Understanding how thinking works will free us, and in our freedom, we will find capacity to build and live in a free world. Should we ignore this innate possibility, there is little reason to doubt that civilizations will continue to rise and fall, and that in the next 6,000 years of humanity, we will have suffered at least another 6,000 wars. For in the past 6,000 years, we have suffered 6,000 wars. And this is all because of how we live, innately lazily on accepted ideologies rather than on confirmed and investigated truths. Will you begin to watch your inner nature without choice? If you can, you are a flickering light in the darkness of humanity. May you grow in your understanding to one day be an oasis in this desert.
This demands great responsibility, you understand? That you are totally responsible for yourself, whatever you do. It's no good blaming environment, heritage. My mother and father were like this, therefore I'm like that. Society is ugly, so I'm caught in a society. It's all, you follow? This demands that you work. Either you work hard, you work very hard to earn money, right? Spend years, day after day, night after night, year in and year out, to get money. You realize how you all work? How all the human beings work? And we don't work the infinitesimal of that energy inwardly. And we have become feeble, irresponsible. So, we don't change because we don't want to, simply. If you want to do something, you do it. Sirs, we've answered most of the questions. It's nearly 12 o'clock. Really, there is no question at all. There are no questions at all, and therefore no answers. You are the problem. You are the trap. One is caught in this prison. And you have to work like I was going to hell. You have to work, observe, all the rest of it must come from your heart and your mind. Then you are a total human being, free. Where there is freedom, there is no fear. Or rather, where there is fear, there is no freedom. And when there is freedom, you don't need any God. Right? That's it.